Hi everyone and welcome to today's General Hospital recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. Thanks for being up late with me. Oh my goodness, I just got myself in the middle of a Facebook fight that I didn't want to get involved in, so you are my escape right now because I just cannot. So let's get right to it. At Carly's office, Nell comes in. She offers to help her, but Carly wants to be alone for a while. Not going to happen because Sonny walks in and he asks for some privacy, but Carly's like, no, you can stay. And Sonny apparently has set up a foundation in Morgan's name to benefit kids with mental illness, and it has quite some money attached to it. So she brings up Stone and how this is like what he does. You know, he donated to the hospital when he had inherited that money because of Lily's death, and that's how Stone's wing went up. And she thinks he's just trying to absolve or make sense of Morgan's death, and it doesn't make sense, you know. And he says that he found another way to clear his conscience, but he later says that that's not the right word, or that's not the right way to put it. So he's, been going back to church, to try to find at least peace with the situation, and she says she hopes he's able to find peace, and he wants to say a few words at Morgan's funeral, and she says that won't be an issue. Absolutely, say as many words as you want. So Nell approaches Sonny after he leaves, and she thinks the foundation is a beautiful idea and Morgan would be proud, but he doesn't think so. Carly calls Nell in. She tells her Morgan was accepted to Vanderbilt and he was so proud, and he framed his acceptance letter, and it's at Sonny's house, and she wants to have it to bury it because she doesn't have a body to bury. So she asks Nell if she can go get it, and Nell says yes. At the PCPD, Dante has invited Lulu over because they have someone in custody. It's Daphne. Remember her from Cassadine Island? So she was in Auckland using a phony passport, and that's when they caught her. And Dante gets to do the honors of questioning her, and Lulu gets to be there too, unofficially. So Daphne immediately recognizes them, and she says she'll answer any question they have, but she lies about where she lives because she's... and Lulu doesn't let that fly. Dante lays out the situation for her. Basically, she's in trouble, but they want Valentine. So maybe, she has a way out of that. So he says, she says that Valentine didn't hire her. Helena hired her to come to the island and bear her grandchild. And I'm like, oh my God, they're not doing this. Are they doing this because I'm hating this? I already hate it. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm just all these emotions. But I needed to calm myself because it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So talk about the embryo, that she was going to be the surrogate, and Lulu says, I'm that child's mother, and she's really happy, and she asks where the child is, and Daphne's like, whoa, there is no child. She never carried the embryo. The deal was off, but she was still allowed to stay at Cassadine Island. She says when Helena got back, she seemed defeated, like she'd never seen her like that. And Lulu asked if she used someone else as a surrogate. And Daphne says that the embryo was no longer viable and it was disposed of. And obviously this breaks Lulu. Doesn't break me. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but I was really not looking forward to a Spencer Cassadine child. I think she's still out there. I think it'll still happen. I don't believe that the embryo was disposed of. I think we're going to see this come up in the future. Personally, that's what I feel. So she says Helena was just like totally broken and then slipped away, and that's how she's sure about this because she was never like that. So Lulu sees the letter about, with the address on it for what it was, a taunt. And, basically if Helena couldn't use the embryo, that nobody could have it, like no one else could have it. At the hospital, Nathan comes to see Griffin. Someone's been asking questions about Charlotte, Child Services. So they're working on tracking down her birth certificate, but she's legally a ward of the state right now. So Griffin does have power to stop this if he takes a DNA test, and he's not thrilled about that, and he thinks the paperwork would alert Valentine to Charlotte's whereabouts. So although that is a very real possibility, her becoming a ward of the state and being out of their hands is even more dangerous for her. And I think a part of Griffin just is so afraid that Claudette lied and Charlotte isn't his, and he couldn't bear to lose her. But it's just so... after Nathan leaves, Griffin asks the nurse how long the lab holds on to past DNA results. She says about 90 days. So he needs Brad to run a comparison test on one. So I think he's doing an under-the-radar DNA test before the public one. So he'll know and he'll have peace of mind. At the Metro Court, Jason and Curtis. So this was fun where we left off with Jason hearing Curtis saying that he has information. So he wants to know what he knows. And Jason says he's just interested in the truth and whatever that may be. And after going back and forth about what are you going to do with the information? What are you going to do with the information? You're going to do this or you're going to do that. Not productive. Jason mentions the cloud and... my screen decided to go black. Oh, he mentions the cloud, and now he has a guy who could very easily access the information. So you might as well just show me what's on your phone. So Curtis shows him a picture of one of the files, and it's flimsy at best. It's basically like certain things that were used to make the bomb aren't sold in the U.S., so they had to be imported from Puerto Rico, and that happens to be near Sunny's Island, and, you know, stuff like that. So Jason's like, okay. So Carly sees Jason, and they talk, and he says he came to see her, and she says how Sunny wants to talk at Morgan's funeral. They're both surprised. She didn't say no. And she tells him about the foundation and shows him, like, the paperwork Sunny gave her with the huge figures. And Jason's like, something's going on here. Nina, also at the Metro Court, Nina asks Maxie, why did I say it like that? Nina asks Maxie about when her and Nathan were going to clue her in about Charlotte. And I do kind of feel bad that she was left out of the loop on that one. She's not happy. She tells her about what happened on Halloween. And she says, Maxie tells her Claudette lied again. And Nina feels out of the loop. And Maxie's like, you know, I've been busy. I was kidnapped. And Nina's like, that happened years ago. And then she's like, wait. It happened. What? And she didn't know that either. And she's so sorry. Now she feels like a jerk. Maxie mentions Valentine's name. So they talk, you know, how Nina knew him, this, that, and the other thing. And Nina kind of alludes that she's seen Valentine. Back at the Metro Court, even though we're at the Metro Court, what did I do here? Nathan comes in, and Maxie wants to tell him about Nina and Valentine and his meeting with her. At Sunny's, Sunny calls Diane. He wants his whole family taken care of in a nice way, not in a, you know, way. That's in poor taste. But yeah, like monetarily taken care of. And after the funeral's all done, they'll never have to see his face again. And Nell knocks, and I think by accident, and I think she heard what he was saying. So Sunny asks how much she's heard, most of it, and what did she think she heard? And I'm like, oh my God, what did she think she heard? I don't know. So that sounded weird, but I guess that's right. So she thinks he may be facing legal troubles and skipping town. He says it's for the best. She thinks his family needs a say in this. Sorry, my phone is dying and keeps stopping to tell me the percentage. Sunny has... she thinks his family needs a say in this. He says they wouldn't approve. They don't need to know about it until he's gone. Forget what she heard. At Valentine's, Anna says, they've met before, haven't they? And I was like, oh, see, that's a good trick. It's like when you don't remember someone's first name, you ask them how to spell it, and then they spell it, and now you know their first name. And if you didn't know that trick, you're welcome. I knew this girl named Marissa, and I forgot her name, and we were friends for like 2 months, and like I couldn't remember her name. And I wound up looking at her paper to see what her name was, and it was Marissa. Anyway, so he seems puzzled. No, they haven't met before. He researched her when her name was mentioned to him, though, so he knows her situation. So she wants to know why he's in Port Charles, and he invites her in, and he says he's there to reconnect with his family, and she's like, yeah, no, I don't believe that for a hot second. And he asks her why she thinks he's there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That's like a 4th grader talk. So she wants to know if he is who he says he is. And, Valentine wasn't heard of until like 5 years ago. And he'd be the last Cassadine now, which would make him the heir, which is pretty convenient. So he says he's in the Cassadine book. And she says that Helena and Victor are the only ones who could have confirmed his identity. And they're dead. So how convenient for you. And he holds out his tattooed arm. And she's like, well, anyone could get a tattoo. And he's like, no, I would consent for you to test my blood. And she's like, you know what? I might just hold you to that. And she's suspicious of how connected he is, especially for someone who hasn't existed until like 5 years ago. And she says she's interested in public safety. He sees what she's saying as a threat, and she wants him to leave or she'll make trouble for him. So she knows him, his type, and he's just like the people who were so cruel to him, and he got some power and then was cruel to others. So it's not like he made himself something he wasn't. I feel like I've said this before, but about another character. Like, these words seem so familiar, but I can't place it. So then she really like lays into him and is like looking for a reaction, and like his mask starts to slip when she really digs in about his family and not loving him and casting him aside. And then he like has an outburst and yells at her. So then he apologizes for the outburst, and she warns him against hurting anyone, and after she leaves he throws a glass at the door. And now end scene. I know, it's already the end scene. Nell thinks Carly and Michael deserve to know if Sonny's going to leave, and she says she sees how much his family loves him, and he wants to grieve his own way. So Sonny wrote a letter and is putting it in an envelope, and he leaves it to Carly. Jason thinks the amount of money that Sonny's leaving, like something's definitely going on. Carly thinks it could be the beginnings of a manic episode, but Jason says like he's taking his medicine, but he hasn't really slept. She's like, well, I haven't either, but that's not fair. And Jason says, well, what if this whole thing happened differently? What if it's not Sonny's fault? Yeah, they need to really figure this out now, or else all the like that part of grief and everyone's grief of blaming Sonny blaming himself, like that doesn't need to happen. So they really need to figure that out like 2 seconds ago. A patrol officer tells Curtis the commissioner wants a word. Did Valerie turn him in? I don't know. Personally, I don't think she would, but who knows? Lulu says maybe it is time to let it go and close the door on this potential embryo for good. But Dante could see how happy she was with the thought of having another child. And he says that if there were a little girl out there that was hers, he would move heaven and earth to find her. And I really do believe that. No matter how he feels about this whole situation, if the child's already in the world, I feel like he would want her in their lives, so she would be loved by her family. And she says she needs to focus on how lucky they are to have Rocco, especially with everything that's happened with Morgan. Nina, why do I keep doing that? Nina says that she will contact Nathan if Valentine comes near her again. And she says she made it clear that he has no shot with her, so she doesn't think he's going to come around. Valentine takes like a wooden I don't know what to call it, and I know it has a word. A wooden box. Please don't make fun of me. Out of the safe, and there's some knickknacks in it, to put it like literally the worst way. Griffin does a cheek swab. Anna comes to see him. She says she visited Valentine, and he never mentioned Claudette or Charlotte, and but she thinks he's hiding something very dangerous. And Valentine takes out a folded picture of Anna, so there's more to it, but it's Anna when she was younger. What is happening? Is Valentine really Valentine? Is Valentine someone else? What is happening? Is Valentine Helena? It could happen. Oh my god, that would be ridiculous. Can you imagine? Oh my god, I'm not even gonna go there, but oh my god, that would be like the most soap opera thing to happen in recent history if they like did some kind of brain swap type deal. Oh god, I apologize for even bringing that up, because I would feel horrible if it was true. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today's recap. I will see you tomorrow for more General Hospital, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!